President Chesley, members of the Governing Board of Directors, distinguished and dedicated faculty and staff, parents, partners, and friends, and to the graduating classes of 2020 and 2021, I want to thank you for the privilege to address you on this very, very special occasion. Commencement. The dictionary says to commence or to begin, the beginning of something. However, I want to recognize you for what you have already done, what you have accomplished. You are simply extraordinary. First, I want to recognize you for your competence, good judgment, and maturity in making the decision to continue your education here at Central Oregon Community College. Why do I say this? Well, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 2018, the median earnings for workers with only a high school diploma was about $730 a week. But for those with an associate's or bachelor's degree, it was almost twice that at $1,200. Research also shows that between 1990 and 2013, students who completed an Associate of Arts degree had a lifetime earnings increase of more than $300,000. And that was only an increase that did not include the last 8 years. What does this mean in practical terms? It's been argued the foundation for accumulating wealth is home ownership. Over the past few months, the median cost of a home here in Bend has risen to over $525,000. What does this mean for a first-time home buyer? It would require either a down payment of 10% or $52,000 and an annual income of about $70,000 a year. With 20% down, which many banks are now requiring, you'd have to have $105,000 in cash and an income of between $85,000 and $92,000 a year. If you have to rent, the average rent in Bend is about $1,600 a month, which would require an income of about $50,000 to keep housing at the recommended 40% of your income. So you need to be recognized for your competence and good judgment in making the decision to continue your education beyond high school for financial reasons. Beyond that, you need to be recognized for pursuing your education at a much less costly community college. U.S. News and World Report says that the average cost of tuition at in-state at a public college is around $9,600 or $700 a term. This is compared to about $35,000 a year at private colleges and universities, or a savings of about 72%. But you here at Central Oregon Community College is paid about $4,500 in tuition and fees. So you need to be acknowledged for your good judgment about coming here for financial reasons. And hopefully even those very reasonable costs, we have reason to believe will soon be reduced to zero with the many political candidates arguing for free community college. You should be recognized also for deciding to go where the academically qualified faculty are committed to teaching and to your success in learning. So the second reason I say you need to be recognized is for your competence and your achievement is that you have had to make extraordinary balancing of budget and time and energy to be able to finish your degree here. And you have succeeded in finding a way to juggle and balance work and commitments to important relationships with parents and partners with children and friends. And I need to remind you that you did all this in the midst of one of the worst viral epidemics this country and the world has ever experienced. There have been over 500,000 COVID-related deaths in the United States. Central Oregon has not escaped COVID cases as well. So, as you all know only too well, it has been an unprecedented disruption in every sphere of our lives. Our jobs have been shut down. Schools have had to reimagine how we teach and deliver educational services. And we have lost dear family members and friends. Things have been canceled, but you persevered and you did not cancel. 3 things that have guided me in my life that I want you to know and perhaps remember. 1, I needed to eliminate self-limiting thinking. Thinking that I am my own worst enemy. Self-defeating thoughts can make you stop before you begin to even try. Closely related to this self-limited thinking is the issue of confidence, belief in yourself, giving yourself credit for who you are and what you have accomplished. You've completed very challenging coursework. You have found a way to juggle successful classwork and frequently a job, along with caregiving for parents or a partner or children. The third thing I want you to try to remember is to acknowledge community and to acknowledge the need to give back. None of us got here totally on our own, so please try to pay it forward. I want to end with a brief story with regard to the issue of self-limiting thinking and giving yourself credit and acknowledging you need to be confident in what you're doing. I knew a young man, an African-American man, who didn't think he could or would ever get anywhere beyond that which those around him had done. But his 7th grade math teacher, an elderly gray-haired woman, on the first day of class in junior high school, gave him a surprise acknowledgement. She said to the entire class, "I want to start today by recognizing one of you in this class who was awarded the distinction of being named the paper carrier of the year." She then held up the newspaper with half a page of him announcing the award. He had not thought of this as anything special. He had failed to recognize or value his own accomplishments. He worked his heart out in that class for that teacher, not to disappoint her. He went on to finish college, was accepted to medical school, completed a master's degree and then a Ph.D. in neurophysiological developmental psychology from Cornell University. He became chair of the developmental psychology doctoral program and deputy executive officer of the City University of New York, the largest doctoral psychology program in the United States. He was later named to the Board of Higher Education here in Oregon, where he hired the president of University of Oregon and the president of Oregon State University, Dr. Ed Ray. He successfully argued against increases in tuition and fees in the university system, and he helped persuade the Oregon legislature to increase student aid by over 100%. He had failed to recognize his own accomplishment back there in junior high and had discounted his own abilities, kind of like what is often called the imposter syndrome feelings that so many women experience. So I know this story well because that self-doubting young man was indeed me. And now I want to pass that acknowledgement on to you. And I want to recognize you for the incredible success and achievement that you have made in graduating under the most difficult and challenging conditions anyone could ever have imagined. More difficult than the period following the First World War or the Second World War. You have persevered your way through competing demands of coursework, finding jobs under the most severe quarantine restrictions and reductions in workforce. You have maintained relationships important with partners and children and parents under these most stressful conditions. You've refocused your goals, and with a firm hand on the rudder directing you toward your future, you have found ways to get here today and be awarded your degree. You have earned a degree that is a gateway degree, a license to learn. You have demonstrated intelligence, discipline, perseverance, and tenacity. Congratulations. You have won from all of us our respect and admiration.